קהל קדוש, בוקר אור, תזכו לשנים רבות, נעימות וטובות. דף יומי מסכת זבחים, דף י"ט עמוד א'. Right? Says the Gemara, Amar Ravashi says, Amali Huna bar Natan, says Huna bar Natan. Zimna Chada, once happened, Avakaina Kamed, the Yigzal Malka was in front of, right, the king is Gadar. He was one of the Persian kings. Right? Vava Midle Lihem Yanai. And my Avnet was above, which means that my Avnet, my belt, was above, like where the elbows are. So he saw it, V'taitini aleh. So he put it back, he put it down. And he told me, it's written that you have to be a mamlechet kohanim. So bachu, they were crying. Yeah, that means you guys have to be with mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadosh. So when I came in front of Meimar and I told him the story, Amali, he says, he was mekayem in you, that their kings are going to be like your servers. You know what I mean? Like, you had a king, that the king was coming and putting, right, addressing him basically. So Tanan Hatam, it was written over there in the Mishnah, Kohen shelaka be'etzbao. Yeah, we're talking about a Kohen shelaka be'etzbao. Korech alei gemi is going to put, so he got a wound on his finger. So korech alei gemi b'mikdash. So he comes and he puts it right when he's doing the service of the Bet HaMikdash. Why? Because it's a genai that you should see the makat during the avodah. Meaning he has to put like a type of a plaster, right? A type of a band-aid. Yeah, avalo Medina, but not outside of the Medina, because then it's Yisur D'Rabbanan because of refuah. So that means here we're talking about that he's allowed to do it, right? He's allowed to do it even for Shabbat, right? Because basically there's no shvut in the Mikdash, meaning there's no Yisurim D'Rabbanans in the Bet HaMikdash. So here, even though he's doing this refuah, but since it was for the necessity of the korbanot and everything, it's permitted, but not outside. Now, if he's doing it to take out blood, right? Kan ve'kan asur. So then it's always going to be asur because that's already Nisur Doraita. Taking out blood in Nisur Doraita, so anything which is Nisur Doraita, it's going to be asur. Amar of Yehuda Berei, right? The Reb Chia says of Yehuda the son of Reb Chia. Lo shanu, what are we talking about? Ela gemi. It's only talking about a gemi because it's not a clothing. Aval tzilzul katan, but if it's going to be a small clothing, haviyitur begadim. It's considered that he has an extra clothing. Now we know that a kohen cannot have extra clothing. He's only allowed to serve with how many clothing? 4. And the kohen gadol obviously is going to be 8. Yeah. Rabbi Yochanan says, "Lo amru yitur begadim ela bimkom begadim." He says, no. Extra clothing is only in a place where you put extra clothing. But it's not the place of extra clothing. Lo yitur is not considered extra. So says the Gemara, "V'teip gulim mishum chatzitza." He says, fine, but learn because of chatzitza. So he says, be small. Right, we're talking about now in small, which is the left. Meaning, since it's not a chatzitza, because since you only use, remember the avodah is always with the right hand, not with the left hand. So if you're going to put like the gemi, the plaster on the left hand, it's on a chatzitza. Inami, or if you want, you can answer shlom minkom avodah, which means that it's not on a place where they do avodah, that they have to hold it with their hands, whatever it is, so there's no problem with chatzitza. Upliga de Rava, and it argues on Rava, the Rava says Rava name chasta, bimkom begadim, right, in a place of begadim, afilu nima achat, even one little tiny hair is going to be a chatzitza. שלא במקום בגדים, it's not going to be במקום בגדים, 3 חוצצות, פחות מכאן, אין החוצצות, it's not going to be, right, חוצץ. You remember, by the way, when we learned, huh? You remember you're not allowed to use your phone. You forgot very quickly. If you remember, we said, what's the reason why v'nistapag? Nisapag is that the Kohen Gadol, every single time they used to do mikveh, he used to why chatzitza? Because the water which is on the body. So therefore he comes and he says, so the same thing. Every single time that he used to change his clothing, he used to dry him, go to the mikveh on Kippur, he had to dry himself up. And the question is why? Why does he go to the mikveh, come out, just put on the new clothing?
But you have to dry.
So why does he have to dry himself? Is because it's a chatzitza. The water would be a chatzitza, right? So therefore it's a chatzitza.
If you make a shower on Shabbat,
You can dab, you can't ring. I mean, you have to be careful.
Yeah, you have to be careful not to squeeze it.
You remember you used to say that water is something that also holds to. There's no, I mean, I don't remember why, but you used to talk about it all the times.
Yeah, you have it. Anything the water makes something is accessible for Tumah.
Can transport.
The 7 liquids is water, mine. There you go. The Rabbi Yochanan for sure is going to be arguing. Who told you that he's going to be arguing? So answers the Gemara, Shanet Tziltzul Katan de Chashiv. It's this small little tiny clothing is chashuv. It's like a tachshit. So therefore, since it's chashuv, it's like a clothing. That means even though it doesn't have the measurements of a clothing, which is 3 by 3, the fact that it's something important, so therefore it's going to be a problem. Lishna achrina. Remember, whenever you have lishna achrina, it means it's another version. So lishna achrina amrilei. There was another lishna that really bemet. He said this was a machloket. Amar Rav Yehuda ben Zevachim lo shanu ela gemi. Aval tzuk katan chotzet. It is a chatzitza. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Yochanan says lo chatzitza b'chol shalosh ela minkom megadim only in place of clothing. Aval shalom minkom megadim in a place which is not going to be clothing, right? It's not going to be chotzetzet. So he says pachol mikan ene chotzetzet. I know Rav Chasta, and that's exactly what Rav Chasta said. So says the Gemara lemin pliga der Rabbi Yehuda b'reder b'chia barabba. What he's arguing Rabbi Yehuda b'reder b'chia. So he says shanin tzitzukatan dechashiv. Okay. Now the Gemara is going to ask, according to this lishna, according to this version, on Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan, my idia gemi lashminan tzitzul katan. Why are we talking about davka a gemi, even if it's going to be a tzitzul katan, like a small clothing, whatever it is? So he says min ta'agav kamashmalan orche kamashmalan the gemi masi. That means basically it's teaching us the powers of healing powers. Gemi reads, they heal. So that's why we were talking about that. Meaning, why are we talking about gemi? To speak about something else.
This
Plastic.
small belt, is this
Yes.
around the finger? Or
Around the finger. So this actually heals. It's made out of gemi. Gemi is like reeds. So by Rava comes and he asks the following question: what happens right now if he has clothing in between his wind in between his clothing? Mau, are we going to say? Huh? No, zadaf shel machar. No. So says the Gemara, when you have ruach, right? We're talking about a lot of ruach. Some people are malay ruach, right? Only full of wind. So what happens is that you have that if the wind became in between the Kohen Gadol's clothing, right, and himself, the body, I would say it's like the phone. So Madin, what's the halacha? Al besaro baninan, yeah, pass the phone. Do we say it's going to be al besaro, which means that it has to be on the flesh, meaning the clothing have to be on the flesh, and here you've got wind in the separating between the clothing. Valeka or dinma, yeah, but it's normal. Meaning, look, he's wearing it normally. Okay, so there's a little bit of wind, a little bit of yeah, you're right. Another doubt: kina mau shetachutz. What about if he's got a kina, lice? Is that a chatzitza? Meta lo tibay lecha. If for sure if it's going to be dead, it's a chatzitza. Chayamai. What means if it's alive? Do we say given that since it's walking around, so revita it's normal? That's like a thing. And it's not a chatzitza. Udima maybe given the kapil, huh? No, who matzah it right? So therefore he finds it. So is that considered chatzitza or not? Udima given the maybe since he's makpid, it's chaitza. Afar. Third question. What about afar? Moshe yachtos. Afar, but for sure it's going to be chotzetz. Ela vakafar. No, it's not a far. It's a vakafar. What's halacha? So right, we don't have an answer. Beta shechi. Yeah, what about beta shechi? What does that mean? You've got avir between the beta shechi, right? The armpits. That's normal, right? Another question. He comes and he puts his hand inside of his bosom, right? So here, in his chest area. So is that a chatzitza or not? Nima, or a sixth one, right? What about the hair? Or here it says it's a chut shel beged. It's like a string of a clothing. Nima v'day. No, that for sure is a chatzitza. Ela nima meduldelet ma. What's halacha by nima meduldelet? A seventh one. So we did answer a few of them. We answered about a far that it is a chatzitza. We answered about nima that for sure it's a chatzitza. We answered about kina meta, but there were other ones that we didn't answer. We didn't answer about wind. We didn't answer about a kina chaya. We didn't answer about a vakafar, about beta shechi, about yadol letocheko. You understand? Nima medoldelet. So the seventh one, Mor Baravashi Yatsa Searo bevigdo. What happens right now if Sear Rosho was so long that it came in through his clothing? Yeah, he's got long hair, so it went right into the clothing. So what's halacha? Searo kigufod, his hair is like his body, and therefore there's not a problem with chatzitza. Odima, maybe it's not like his body, right? Another one, Rabbi Zerat Tfilin. It's Tfilin a chatzitza. Ma'ushe yachotzu, right? So says the Gemara like this. כן, מה קורה אם יש לו שיער ארוך? הוא נזיר.
שיער ארוך אבל?
נזיר, הוא נזיר. No. סתם נזירות זה 30 יום, 30 days, but I'm saying, but sometimes let's say you took it for whatever. You understand? So he says, Aliba demanda Amar, according to Manda Amar, Laila Lazman Tfilini, right? Loti Bailecha, Kevin de Laila Chaitza, since it is going to be a chatzitza in the nighttime, during the daytime it is going to be chatzitza, meaning nighttime you're not allowed to have the tefillin, so it's a chatzitza. So therefore, so to the day, during the day, so it's going to be a chatzitza. So Kita Bailecha Lemanda Amar Laila Lazman Tfilin. Oh, the question is only according to the Manda Amar that you are allowed to put on tefillin during the nighttime. My what's halacha? Mitzvah du so we say it's going to be a mitzvah and it's going to be chatzitza, or dino, maybe lo chaitz, it's not going to be a chatzitza. Ilgalgal minta umata lekameder Rabbi Ami. So nitgalgel davar zeh. Came from Rami Amalei and he said Talmud Aruch biyadenu shetfilin chotzot. So it's a Talmud Aruch that tefillin is going to be a chatzitza. So matevei we're going to ask the following question: Konim avu talmudim duchlam yisam madam peturim min atfilah min atfilin. Right, it's going to be patur from tefillah and tefillin. My lover, we're not talking about iminichan if it's going to put it on. So it's not going to be a chatzitza. So says, no, iminichan if he does put it on, it is going to be a chatzitza. Yeah, so why does it say paturim mit tefillin? Why did it say that right now they're going to be paturim? Asurim, it's not a patur. It's a sur. Patur just means you're exempt. But if you want, you could do it. When I say it's a sur to do it, you're not allowed to do it. So answers the Gemara, Kevin Dika Levim Yisrael de lo matnule. Since you have Levim and Yisrael de lo matnule, they didn't make a condition, a sur. Mishum hachi tana pturin. That's what we thought, turin. Tanya, we learned in the right time, so that if you put it on, it's not going to be a chatzitza. Like Kashia, depends which type of tefillin. The tefillin shel yad or tefillin shel rosh. Meaning, tefillin shel yad for sure is going to be a chatzitza. Because if he's got a tefillin shel yad, he can't come and start doing the avodah. He's got a chatzitza. He's got the tefillin shel yad. Tefillin shel rosh is not a chatzitza. Huh? So says
Good
the Gemara,
point.
very good point. Let's see.
You got to speak up every now and then so we know you're not a baked potato.
He was never a big potato.
If there's a big potato, you know next thing. I need the job before you need it. And now Bezil Chacham, רואה את הנולד.
So says the Gemara, Lakashia, Diyad ve'ad rosh. So my shna Diyad dichtiv says right in Nimich Lisvadi Blasha Besoro, Shedvar Chotzes Benol Besoro, the Rosh Rami also, you can't have a chatzitza. Right? Ktiv some time mitzvah, the Rosho. So Tana, Searo Yanirem ben tzitza mitzvah. The Kohen Gadol would still see the tzitz, which was on his forehead, right? Between, right, by the mitznefet. Right? Shesham meniach tefillin. That's where you support the tefillin. You tetamul bet. Okay, we're on the two dots. Mechusar Kippurim. Yeah? Mechusar Kippurim. Menalan. How do you know that if a person does not have his clothing, it's mechalel et ha'avodah?
Relax atonement, not
Yeah.
not clothing.
Sorry. Mechusar Kippurim. I read Mechusar Begadim. I don't know why. Yeah? We was thinking about pajamas. Fine, Mechusar Kippurim. We were lacking.
I am not a potted plant.
No, for sure not. Yeah. Mechusar Kippurim. Menalan. How do we know? Mechusar Kippurim. That if you're lacking your korban, so Amar Avuna Amar Kras. Says Avuna said the pasuk. Vechiper alea hakohen v'tahera. Right? He's going to have an atonement. Vechiper alea hakohen, and then it's going to be pure. Tahara mikal shad adasha is going to be tmeah. Right? So it's going to be until now. He's going to be considered tmeah, meaning that until he brings the korban, he's considered tameh. Kapish? Until he brings the korban, he's tameh. The shalor rachutz yadayim v'raglayim. He says it's a we're going to learn from Gzera Shava. Chuka mechusar begadim. Meaning just like by mechusar begadim, it's going to be tameh, meaning that he's going to disqualify posel the korban. So to chuka, since it's written the same word also by without kiddush yadayim v'raglayim. Remember, the kiddush yadayim v'raglayim is basically that after that you always needed purity. So even after the mikveh, you put on your clothing, boom, kiddush yadayim v'raglayim. You take off right before taking off the clothing, boom, kiddush yadayim v'raglayim. How many times would the Kohen Gadol do kiddush yadayim v'raglayim?
A lot of
10. 10. Why? If he goes to the mikveh 5 times, so therefore it's going to be 10. Yeah, Tanu Rabbanan, we learned to the Braita. Kohen Gadol shelo taval v'shelo kidesh. A Kohen Gadol shelo taval v'shelo kidesh. If he did not do tevilah on Yom Kippurim, or he did not do kiddush shel Raglayim, mem beged little beged between each one, uven avodah v'avodah v'avodah keshera, it's still kosher b'diavad. V'echad Kohen Gadol v'echad Kohen Gadol shelo Gadol, or Kohen Gadol or Kohen Idiot, they did not do kiddush shel Raglayim shachrit. V'avad avodato pesula. So the Kohen Gadol, if he didn't do the tevilah or he didn't do kiddush shel Raglayim in between the different sederim, in between, like all the
Fine.
so it's going to be fine with the avad.
morning.
But in the morning, it's going to be pasul. Go inside where? The mouth and the room. And what's my baya?
Close your mouth.
Oh, you gotta-
You're sorry. So says the Gemara. Yeah, Amale Ravasi Rabbi Yochanan says Ravasi Rabbi Yochanan Michti. Chamesh tevilot v'atzara kiddushin. You see it here, doctor. You have 5 tevilot and 10 kiddush yadayim raglayim in Kippur. It's going to be doraita. V'chuka aktiv behu liakvu. So when it's written chuka, it's much further. It is going to be me'akev even with diavad. So Amalei he says, Amakar the pasuk says ulvesham levisha me'akev. V'en davar acher me'akev. Only the levisha is me'akev, not anything else. So tzavu panav. He became very very happy. Right? He enjoyed the answer. When people enjoy their answer, their face shines. Yeah? So he says, Amalei, he says, Vav awufta katvilecha. He says there's a Vav on Mikat Etz, which means that you could ask the question, Ihachi de tzafranami, in the morning also. Meaning, why only if you didn't do it in the morning, it's ma'akev, it impedes. Why? It shouldn't be impeded at all. Samar Chizkiah says, the Pasuk says, Vayita lahem chok olam lo luzarato leluzotam. Tavara me'akev vezaro me'akev bod. Rashi me'akev vezaro. Meaning, since it also impedes on a regular Kohen idiot, so it's going to impede also on the Kohen Gadol. But if not, then you're right, then it wouldn't impede either. Rabbi Yonatan says, there's another Pasuk. V'rachatzam mimenu Moshe v'Aaron u'vanav. The Moshe Aaron and his children wash their hands. Anything which is me'akev the children is going to be me'akev him. It's not going to be me'akev the children. It's not going to be me'akev him. Rabbi Yochanan, why didn't Rabbi Yochanan say like Chizkiah? He's going to tell you how it's written for generations. The Yidach and the other one he's going to tell you. He says, he needs Rav Yossi Rav Chanina. Ta'amar Rav Yossi Rav Chanina, Kol Kior Shembo Kedei Lekadesh Arba Kohanim Mimenu En Kachimbo. The Kior that have minimum of 4 spouts. In order the 4 Kohanim could come and do it at the same time. Shnemar, Rachatzu Mimenu, Moshe, Aharon, Ubanav. You got Moshe, Aaron, and his children in plural. So you need to have that the Kior has a minimum of 4 different spouts, that 4 at the time, right? Not like one over here, right? But you have 4 different spouts at the same time that you're able to come and wash hands. By the way, the Kohen Gadol, where would he do the washing of his hands and feet, the Kiddush Layim Reglaim? From the Kior to the regular Kior all year round?
Wouldn't they bring him a special one?
He had a special one made out of gold for his kavod.
It was
special.
stationary, or they brought it to him mobile?
No, I think it was a mobile thing.
Rabbi, thanks to you, I removed no, really.
Yeah.
Also me.
You're going to do another daf?
So Mibaile, so he needs it for. It says like this. So therefore, it has to be 4 people doing the same one. How do you do the kiddush yadayim raglaim? This is incredible. The day after Kippurim, we're learning how to do the kiddush yadayim raglaim. So he puts his right hand yado aymanit al rablu aymanit. You're listening? He goes like this. Yeah, very good. Yado smalit again, right, left. No.
1 to 1?
Yes. Haymanit al manit, smalit al smalit. Kadesh. Rabbi Yosef Yehuda Omer, maniach shtei yadav al gabezu, or al gabe shtei raglav, zo al gabezu. Kadesh. You put the 2 hands together and then the 2 feet together. Kadesh. Amrulo tiflagta. So what are you talking about? You can't do that. You're going to fall. How do you do that? You put both feet together and go up. Like, how are you doing exactly? So Shabi Kamani is right. I'm going to say, no, his friend helps him so he shouldn't fall. Yeah? Okay. So maybe now, what's the difference between them? He says, he says, if you're standing on the side. Why doesn't he sit down and do it? So it has to be the sharet. He's not going to be shirut. It's not just sitting down. He says, whenever you're serving has to be done standing up, not sitting down. We learned in the Braita. Kiddush bayom. Kiddush does during the day and tzrichu kadesh b'layla. So if you did it during the daytime, you don't have to do it again at nighttime. B'layla, you do have to do it again during the daytime. Divir Rebbe. Rebbe omer lina muelet b'kiddush bayom, because lina is going to get rid of the kiddush bayom. Lezer Shimon omer en lina muelet b'kiddush bayom. Meaning that, so basically like this. For sure, if you did it during the daytime, you don't have to do it again at nighttime. But if you did it in the nighttime, you do have to do it again during the day. The reason why is because the nighttime already is a pasek. Yeah, you heard pasek. You have to get ready for the rest of the year, right? So he says, Lo shamata pasek. Bahaki, they're complaining that they didn't hear the pasek loud enough. So now he comes and he says, "It's Rabbanan." We said, so for sure that if it's going to be the nighttime, again, you have to do it during the daytime. This is the Shita of Rebbe. Tanya, we learned in another bright. Used to be bring everything the entire night. So the Kohen that was bringing chalavim the entire night, leora, during Alot HaShachar, he has to do again. Kiddush Adav Melaglam, Divrei Rebbe. אבל זה בשמון אומר, כיוון שקידש אדם ולרבי בתחילת עבודה, אפילו מכמה עד 10 ימים אינו צריך לקדש. Since he's doing the same עבודה, even now for another 10 days, it doesn't matter. You don't need to do it. Utzricha, you need them. We're talking about the first case. In that case, we're talking about Rabbi the Pasek that we're talking about there was a sex between one avodah, there was a pasek between one avodah and another avodah. But here that there's no efsek. I'm going to say, Modi Rabbi Lazar Shimon. V'yesh minam beha. Now you're going to tell me in this case, beha kamar Rabbi Lazar Shimon v'beha. Ema model Rabbi tzricha. So you need it. My Tamad Rabbi. What's the reasoning of Rabbi that he says that you do need kiddush? Anu kiddush yadayim v'raglayim after Alot HaShachar. So he says the pasuk begishtam, right? So therefore, when they're coming close to Mizbeach again to do it, so my Rabbi Shimon that he says you don't need to. Bevuam, that you're already there. He said no. Begishtam velokti bevuam. Then you're right. I'll call gisha v'gisha. Every time you go to the Mizbeach, you have to do it again. Meaning every time you go to the Mizbeach, you should do kiddush yadayim v'raglayim. That's why it's written bevuam, but only when you're coming the first time. The other one, it is written Yishtam. So he says, Ktiv V'vuam V'lo Yishtam, Havamina Filu B'Biyad HaKanit, even when you're coming for no reason. Abiyad HaKanit, it's written L'Sharet. He says, no. Ela B'Yishtam, Yibai Lech Lo Yudacha Bar Yaakov. Tamar Lo Kol Modim LeKiddush Sheni, Shehu Lavush Mekadesh. When we're talking about the second time that the Kohen Gadol would do it, out of the 5 times of the Tvilot, he was already wearing the clothing, would be Mekadesh. Tamar Kabbat Pasuk says, O B'Gisham, Yim Shemu Chutzel Gisha. That's Azeh Shemu Chutzel Gisha. Why do I need the pasuk l'achtir? So he says, I would have thought to say kaf amud aleph on the top. I would have thought to say, one of these words, avodah me'akveh kapara, but avodah lo me'akveh kapara, k'mash v'lan. So I would have thought to say it's going to be me'akev the kapara. But if it's not going to be me'akev the kapara, you would not need